What if I told you that our entire understanding of heart attacks, the number one killer in the world, is based on a myth? We've all been taught to think of it as a plumbing problem, right? A simple clog in a pipe. But a leading cardiologist, after treating literally 250,000 patients, uncovered a much, much more sinister story. And it all started with one of his youngest patients ever. Yeah, that's the question that changes everything. A 28-year-old man, someone who should be in the absolute prime of his life, gets rushed into the emergency room having a full-blown heart attack. How is that even possible? Well, the answer completely flips the script on heart disease. So let's get right into it. We're going to break down what was actually happening inside this young man's arteries, because I promise you, it's not the slow, gradual clogging we've all been taught to fear. And this, right here, is the key. The plaque buildup in his artery. It wasn't even big enough to cause any symptoms. The real culprit, the thing that actually triggered the heart attack, was inflammation. You've got to think of the plaque less like a blockage and more like an angry, inflamed pimple on the inside of the artery wall. And this quote from Dr. Nadas just nails it. He says a heart attack happens when one of those inflamed pimples cracks open. See, it's the rupture that's the catastrophic event, and that rupture is driven by systemic, body-wide inflammation. So it's this three-step process that's so crucial to understand. First, you form the plaque, that little pimple. Second, widespread inflammation raging through your body makes that pimple unstable and causes it to crack. And third, your body does what it's supposed to do. It rushes to heal the crack and forms a blood clot. But that healing clot is what actually seals off the artery, starving the heart of blood. It's an inflammatory crisis, not a plumbing backup. Okay, so if inflammation is the trigger, what in the world is causing all that inflammation in a seemingly healthy 28-year-old? The answer was hidden in his blood, but not where you'd think to look. This is the twist. His blood sugar was totally normal. His doctor probably would have given him a clean bill of health, but underneath the surface, his body was screaming for help by pumping out massive amounts of a hormone called insulin. This state, known as hyperinsulinemia, is a ridiculously powerful driver of inflammation, and it was silently destroying his arteries. And where was all this high insulin coming from? It was being driven by a very specific and very dangerous type of fat. We're not talking about the fat on your arms or legs you can pinch. We're talking about visceral fat. This is the nasty stuff that wraps around your internal organs. It's metabolically active, like its own little factory, just constantly pumping inflammatory chemicals into your system. And if you have a belly that sticks out, that is a huge warning sign. And this vicious cycle really explains everything. It starts with a diet high in processed carbs and sugar, eaten too often. This causes constant insulin spikes. Your body then stores all that excess energy as that dangerous visceral fat. Over time, your cells get tired of hearing the signal. They become numb to insulin. So your pancreas has to scream louder, producing even more insulin just to keep your blood sugar down. It's a runaway train of metabolic damage. Just look at the difference here. On the left, you've got a healthy response. A little whisper of insulin does the job perfectly. But on the right, that's insulin resistance. The body has to literally shout with huge amounts of insulin just to force those cells to listen. And it's that constant shouting, that high background level of insulin, that drives inflammation, creates more plaque, and makes your blood more likely to clot. So, if high insulin and visceral fat are the real villains of the story, how do we fight back? Well, the most powerful tool in the shed isn't what most people think. Now this is such a critical distinction. Simply cutting calories puts your body into a panic mode. Your metabolism slows down, and your body starts breaking down everything for energy, including your precious muscle. Fasting, on the other hand, is a completely different physiological state. It lowers insulin, which basically signals to your body, hey, it's time to unlock the fat stores, and it specifically targets that inflammatory visceral fat first, while protecting your muscle. This timeline makes it so clear. For the first 12 hours or so without food, your body's just burning through the sugar it has stored in your liver and muscles. No big deal. But after that 12-hour mark, that's when the magic happens. Your insulin levels plummet, and your body flips a metabolic switch, and it starts burning that dangerous, inflammatory belly fat for fuel.
But here's the thing, it's not just about what or when you eat. Our modern world is an absolute minefield of hidden triggers for inflammation.
Just take a look at this list, because some of these are going to surprise you. A leaky gut, those vegetable oils hidden in processed foods, even eating too much fruit, which bombards your liver with fructose, all of it can drive inflammation. And get this, mold in our homes, a single night of bad sleep, or even too much of the wrong kind of exercise like long, slow cardio can make you insulin resistant and inflamed. It's a total body problem.
The good news in all of this is that you're not flying blind. This isn't about guesswork. You can actually get a really clear picture of your personal risk.
Here are 3 powerful ways to screen yourself. First, the mirror test. It's that simple. Is your belly protruding? That's your first clue. For a deeper look, a coronary calcium score is a scan that shows you exactly how much plaque you've already built up. A score of 0 is what you're aiming for. And finally, you can ask your doctor for specific blood tests that reveal your true level of inflammation, your fasting insulin, and whether your cholesterol has turned into that small, dense, dangerous type. So, when you boil it all down, this is the bottom line. A heart attack isn't a singular event that just happens out of the blue. It's the final, tragic outcome of a body that has been stuck in a state of chronic, low-grade inflammation for years, constantly reacting to the insults from our food, our environment, and our lifestyle. And that leaves us with this one final critical question. Your body is sending you signals every single day. Things like fatigue, brain fog, joint pain, or that growing belly. The real path to prevention isn't just about lowering a cholesterol number. It's about becoming a detective for your own health and figuring out what's causing your inflammation. So do you know what your body is reacting to?